All right, welcome to Coffee with Marcus and Mark. And in this show, we are going to talk to you about what's happening in the markets and how we are trading it. Today is Tuesday, December 13th, and today is the day that everybody has been waiting for. The CPI inflation data was released this morning. So, how are the markets reacting to this? And more importantly, how are we trading these markets? We'll talk about that. So, if this is your first time here, I'm Markus Heitkoetter. This is my head coach, Mark Hodge. We are real traders who trade live accounts. So therefore, we got a lot of trading experience and we are showing you how we trade these crazy markets. So trust me, we know our stuff and we are not afraid to tell you like it is. So if you're looking for some honest insights into the fascinating world of trading, you are in the right place. And Mark, I don't even know what screen, what I should share this morning because what a day. Let's just bring up the economic calendar first and then probably take it from there.
Yeah, I think that's a good snapshot there. And you see those red flag reports, core CPI, CPI, CPI year over year. And you see those red numbers. This is because the actual CPI numbers were much lower, well, lower than expected, which was great. I mean, that's what traders wanted to hear, and markets, it was fireworks at the open.
Yeah, because especially after last week's PPI producer price index that came in hotter than expected. I mean, this was kind of expected, but there was some nervousness and say, well, the producer price index came in. Does this come in higher too? But anyhow, let's take a look at the futures markets because the report came out an hour before the open. And here's where we see the reaction.
Yeah, just a huge reaction. Nasdaq was up over 4%, so actually leading the indices. You see that after a little bit of a follow through, we've pulled back a little bit, but still up nicely for the day, and an impressive move.
Yeah, so we got to talk about the 4%. Why did the markets jump so much? And this is basically because of this graphic that we see here from CNBC, where we see, okay, in July, this is where people got already excited a little bit and thought, oh, maybe it's peaking here, but it didn't. But now we kind of see a trend. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, and that's it. We want to see a trend that, and you see that it's now looks like not only has it peaked, but it's trending lower. So this is what the Fed wants to see. This is what traders want to see, because then the Fed can slow down their aggressive, hikes and stance on monetary policy. Although a 50 basis point hike is still priced in and still expected, it's that peak, or the terminal rate that traders are really wanting to see, where the Fed stops their hikes and where it eventually turns back down.
Right. And right now, what traders are factoring is a 0.5% basis point hike tomorrow. And then after this, for the February meeting, potentially just a quarter of percentage
Yeah.
point, and then pretty much stopping there. Well, we don't know, but you see, I always picture Jerome Powell, and we talked about it. I picture him in his velvet robe there, sitting in his armchair, sipping a coffee or a tea, watching the PPI data or the CPI data this morning. And then the CPI data came out, and I just picture him sitting there. Excellent.
Yeah. Instead of spitting out the coffee, he had a little glass of champagne and
Yeah.
juice.
So, I mean, we got to talk about it. So let's take a look, first of all, at the S&P on a daily chart. And I want to bring up the 200-day moving average. And right now, we opened above the 200-day moving average. And right now, will this act as support or will we drop lower?
And I mean, it looks like there's an attempt to fill that gap, but I mean, hey, that the more we get above that 200-day, the more
Mhm.
likely it holds. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, and
You're
I mean,
still
this.
you're still a little bit away from your 4,200 prediction, though.
Ah,
I'm
no, no,
only
it's right there. It's
confident
right
I
there.
want some
It's right there.
takes.
We'll see. But we talked about it. I mean, this week, two important events. So the CPI today, super important. And tomorrow, we have the Fed meeting. And I think this is where markets realized, oh, wait a minute. Jerry Powell is also known for pouring some ice cold water on this expectations here and saying, "Wait a minute," right? So this is where, if you look at the VIX this morning, that was just dropping like a rock. Right now, a little bit of uncertainty coming back, and this is where I'm also super surprised to see that with this better inflation data, that there is still a 20% probability of a 75 basis points factored
That's
into for tomorrow. I would have thought that right now we are at 98%.
Oh yeah. Now that surprises me because the Fed's hinted at a 50 basis point hike. At this point, it makes sense. And with CPI data coming in lower than expected after the hotter than expected PPI data, I think it just supports the 50 basis point hike. So yeah, that's a little bit off in my opinion.
So we'll see. I mean, this is where will the markets find a bottom there right now, or will they really fill the whole gap? And yeah, I mean, you just hinted at the 4,200 for those of you, if you're just tuning in. When we were right here, I made a bet with Mark and two of our mastermind members that I said by the end of the year, the S&P will be above 4,200. So that is the bet. And since we are now getting really, really, really close to the end of the year, we're talking about it pretty much every single day. By the way, let me know in the
Sure.
comments, are you with me or with Mark here? What do you think? By the end of the year, will we end above 4,200? Which is still a few percent away. Let's see. So from this level here, the markets would have to rally around 4%. So are you with me that we will close above 4,200, or are you with Mark? Leave it in the comments. I'm just curious what you guys think.
Hey Marcus, do you know the most expensive increase year over year?
No.
What it was? Eggs. Eggs up
Eggs.
49.1%.
Geez, I noticed it when I bought eggs yesterday. They were like $6 for 12 eggs. The
Yeah,
$6 for a box of eggs.
airfare came in second at 36% higher, and butter and margarine third at 34.2% for consumer prices.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's take a look at our positions. So, first of all, on an up day like this, that's where we are not interested in selling any puts. On an up day like this is where we want to sell calls because typically we get more premium on a down day. And this is why I'm also not very surprised that we have just a few stocks popping up on the scanner here. So, no surprise there. But honestly, Mark, for me, there wasn't much to do because looking at the Nvidia position, I already sold the 175 calls expiring December 16 yesterday, and I received $4.50 in premium. Let me just see, where do I have my handy dandy calculator? So $4.50 in premium, so that's $450 and 11 contracts. So close to $5,000 that I collected yesterday in premium here.
Not too shabby. Not too shabby.
Yeah. So we talked about Nvidia several times. My cost base is at 160.91. If Nvidia closes above 175 on Friday, I'm getting called away. I'm making some money on the stock and collected a lot of money in premium here. So we shall see. Right now, also pulling a little bit back with the overall market. Google, another one, big jump for Google here this morning. So far up more than 4.5%.
That I'll take that. I was looking to see if we could sell 104 calls, and we got above 99 actually, and it was looking pretty good, but not enough to get that 30% ROI that we're after.
Yeah, so we need to see maybe Google gets another boost tomorrow. We'll also see what the markets are doing going into the Fed meeting. Again, because it could be switching back to a 5-minute chart of the S&P, that we are finding a bottom here, and then we are moving up, going into the close. I kind of feel, we talked about it with our mastermind this morning. If you had any calls to sell, do it right at the open, because we
Yeah.
expected the markets to either be flat or moving lower. We did not expect that the markets would just open higher and rally away. So this is why, if you were to sell any calls, right at the open was the best time.
Oh yeah, I mentioned it with the well, you started by mentioning it, but I thought, with that volatility, it's such a huge move. There is the potential to get a little bit of a gap fill where there's that overreaction and then a drop back to reality. But even if the market was to move higher, this is where sometimes traders are afraid to trade options at the open. Heck no, that's when you have all of the volatility. So especially if you're an option seller, I think it's a perfect time to be selling. And we had a few traders sell some calls this morning. It was just beautiful for call selling.
Yeah, exactly. Back to our position, CTRA. So we were assigned, and we did already sell calls yesterday against our existing positions. CTRA also moving higher, still up for the day, but pulling back here a little bit. So I think this is where we really need the impulses from the Fed meeting tomorrow, where hopefully Jerome Powell will say that the Fed is happy with the progress that they are making right now.
Yeah, those would be some great words. I'm looking at the play puts that we sold. Got close to closing those at 90%, but didn't quite make enough of a move to lose that premium. Also, with the Fed tomorrow, there's a little carryover there. In a normal week, we probably would have got out.
Yeah, especially with the Fed carryover, there is uncertainty. So the VIX is moving higher again. And we'll see. I mean, I sold the 32 puts, you sold the 31 puts. Let's see what happens there tomorrow. We might be able to close this early, hopefully tomorrow or on Thursday. And so for me, with these 4 positions, I'm full. I like to trade up to 5 positions. But since I have been flying a rescue mission on NVIDIA, this is taking up 2 positions in my portfolio. So I'm pretty full. And again, the way how the markets are moving today, don't see too many exciting opportunities to sell puts. Today was definitely a call selling day.
Oh, sure. Do you want to roll up your 175 to 177.50 for a 10-cent credit?
No, not at this point. I mean, on Saturday, I'll start traveling with my kids. They to Miami, so this is where I'm okay if I'm getting called away and being a little bit light going into the last 2 weeks of trading, because I'll still watch the markets when I'm traveling, but I prefer not to be glued to the screen and really spend time here with my kids and family. So this is why I'm not interested in rolling this up. My plan here is to really get called away and collecting some really nice premium on this overall trade.
Love it.
All right. Well, one more stock that we need to mention today, because bucking the trend, Tesla. Tesla down 3%, even though the NASDAQ is up 2.2%. I mean,
Yeah, what's
Tesla
that?
can't catch a break right now. Look at this, just sliding, sliding, sliding. We see that Tesla is coming up on the scanner. But Mark, do you want to sell puts on Tesla? Do you want to own Tesla right now?
No, and you look at that move lower. I mean, Tesla is in a downtrend, right? So sure, it could grab hold of some longer term support there, but at this point, don't fight the trend. And there's just a lot of uncertainty. I think Tesla is a solid company. Maybe traders don't like that Elon Musk got booed at a Dave Chappelle show in San Francisco, and that's like causing part of this. No,
I I
but
heard that.
there's definitely buying Twitter has not gone well for Elon. Elon was like just this loved man with SpaceX and Tesla, but this Twitter saga is hurting him.
Yeah. Well, also since yesterday, he's no longer the richest man in the world. Did you hear this?
Yeah, well, that's one more. Yeah,
So he
he's getting
dropped
hurt.
to number 2. Do you know who number 1 is?
I don't.
Yeah, it's the family that owns Louis Vuitton and all these Hennessy brands, the luxury
Oh,
brands.
really?
They
It,
are number 1. Yeah. I mean, completely under the radar. You would never know because, I mean, who's everybody talking about? Yeah, when we talk about richest man in the world, we're talking about Jeff Bezos, Warren Buffett, right? We're talking about Elon Musk, and yeah, I think his name is Arnaud. Not quite sure. I have to look it up, but definitely super, super interesting. Talking about interesting, if you want to see some more interesting videos, I'll link to a few interesting videos right here for you. So take a look at this one, and then we'll be back tomorrow going into the Fed meeting. It will be another exciting day.
Happy trading, everybody.